What do you guys think? Do you think student loan debt influence your decision to go to college? Is that a factor that you weigh? Another thing that I would say too is with the student loans, there's been a lot of hope for about, I want to say, close to 10 years that student loan debts will be waived.
I know.
You talked about some of your student loan debt being relieved. There's a lot of people out there who haven't heard or seen of anybody getting their student loan debt, and there's a lot of controversy about, are they actually waiving these loans?
I know, because we were supposed to get 10 grand taken off.
Yeah. So is that going to happen or what?
5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to the Content Parlor. I'm your host, Chardell. You are?
Tara Pierce.
Your name?
Ingrid, Najera.
Teddy.
And Brian.
Brian, and we are the Content Parlor. Welcome back to the show. Super excited to get started today. The Content Parlor, just a reminder, we share valuable branding and marketing information to help you navigate the brand building process. Today we've got a pretty big panel, the biggest we've had to date, I think. But we've got some heavy hitters in the house. We've got a little bit of design, we've got a little bit of marketing, and we've got a little bit of social media content strategy. All right, but we'll get more into that in just a second. A bit of housekeeping before we get started today. I want to encourage everyone to go out and follow us on social media. We're on all the social platforms, or most of them, except for X. We're not on X. Are we on X? I don't think we're on X.
No, I think so. Sorry.
So, all of them but that one. But LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We encourage you to follow us. That's where we get the latest and greatest content. But today we are talking about the college creatives. So today's topic involves everything related to the educational system and how that relates to building a brand. Is it relevant? Is it not relevant? I don't know, but we'll find out today. So let's just go around quickly and do introductions. Let's be gentlemen. We'll start with ladies first. Tell us your name and what you do for a living.
My name is Ingrid Najera. I do graphic design and photography and some illustration for a living.
Awesome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You guys know me. I think they know you. You've been on a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Let's go here.
I'm Brian Banfield. I'm in the roofing and siding industry, and I make content all over the internet.
Now, are you still, you said you were doing gaming as well, right? Or is that just game collection? Are you streaming that?
I do sometimes. I was doing pretty well there for a while, but TikTok was getting very irritating when it comes to removing your live streams for unnecessary things. So I kind of took a break from that, let the algorithm die down a little bit so I could start fresh again. Yep. But yeah, like Mike Tyson's Punch Out and old school NES games and stuff like that. And if you get enough people on those live streams, you can make a decent amount of money too. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, that's a foreign concept to me, so I'm sure you'll learn a lot from you today.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being on the show, both of you. And our regulars, thank you for coming back. We missed you last time.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah. Teddy, you were out. You have kind of seen the evolution of the podcast and things like that. What are you interested about with today's episode, talking about college creatives? What's like something that you're curious to find out about today?
I mean, I'm always interested in other people's like perspective and opinions. You know, I have mine, and just it just made me think about my path. It was kind of unorthodox, but there, I see some benefits. I don't know if, it's the only way, but yeah, just curious to hear other people's origin story.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
And we encourage you as well out there. Leave a comment below the video if you have a question or something you want us to talk about in the next episode. We're watching that and are excited to hear from you. So let's jump straight in. We've got college creatives. The big question today is, do college degrees work? So we actually have a video that we have prepared. Well, we didn't prepare it. We just grabbed it from the interwebs. We're going to play it now for you to watch and react to.
Goes on to say here, and this is no shocker, that the bachelor's degree programs like engineering, computer science, economics, nursing, they do have a positive ROI. But when you start to go into art, music, philosophy, religion, psychology, it says students can be financially worse off than if they'd never gone to college at all. And so that scares me. And a lot of people, they're not thinking about college choice, and they're not thinking about the ROI of their degree. And we talk about how we're not against education. We just want the education to match the goals. So if you want to be a nurse, yes, you got to go to school. But if you want to go into art, unless you want to be an art teacher, you may not need to go get a 4-year degree at the Ivy League school.
Yeah, after accounting for the risk of dropping out, ROI for the median bachelor's degree drops to $129,000 on average. That's the median. Over a quarter of the programs have a negative ROI. Elite schools like Caltech and Penn dominate the list of the highest ROI programs, but attending an elite school is not a golden ticket. Some Ivy League degrees have negative ROI.
So we'll pause it right there. So the question to our panel today is, when I first heard this, I felt like some shots were fired, right? I'm in art, in the creative space. So, it begs the question, what's been you guys' experience? So what's been your experience with college, and is it working for you?
So for me, I got a full ride scholarship. So I didn't really think about tuition and everything like that. So for me, it wasn't really a thought. I just went, and I think it really helped me figure out my path. And because I think before then I was kind of confused on what I was going to do. So college really helped pave the path to what I'm doing now. So from my experience, it was a good thing. But I also got a full ride scholarship. So that really helped. Hearing this, it made me question other people's experience and what they should do. Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that, Tara? You've been in this space for a bit.
Right. I'm kind of on both sides of the coin because, me for myself, I just wanted a college degree. That was my goal. I had set out to do that. I didn't have a normal path. So I went to college way later on in life and got a degree. And I feel like that helped me get a couple different jobs, just having it on my piece of paper, but was it necessary? No, I think if you have a great portfolio, that's going to get you just as far. Because I have this friend who recently moved to North Carolina. He started out sweeping the floor at a theater scenic studio and gradually worked his way up from there into project management, switched companies, worked his way up there, moved to North Carolina, started working for the people that do the NFL stadiums and the Fox News robot, or not Fox News, but the Fox robot, Fox and and stuff like that. And just this last year, he won an Emmy for his work. No degree whatsoever. He just, what he would do to get into the jobs is they would be like, do you know how to run these programs? And he'd be like, yeah. And then he'd go learn the program a week before he started the job. Yeah. And then work from there.
Right. So he's a problem solver. So he's able to identify problems that these companies have and go in and help them solve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, two sides of the coin.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of contradicted your first comment, so that's interesting. Brian, what are your thoughts on that? You've had, we both had a non-traditional path to our careers, so talk about yours.
Well, I don't have any experience with college or college debt whatsoever. I spent from the ages of 14 to 29 predominantly in and out of jail and prison that whole time. So, but I have a daughter that's 17, then she'll be starting school in college in about a year and a half or so. So I think it's very, purposeful if I can get the most knowledge and understanding, because I know at the end of the day, the educational college systems are are there to make money. And, if you don't have the right hustle, work ethic, are you just going to be in debt for a long time? Is it going to cause more stress? Is the degree that you're going to get going to benefit you financially?
Right.
Any sort? So it's a tricky game out there. It definitely is. But I'm in the trades, so, if that's an education you can get for free out there working with people, learning siding and roofing and things of that nature. And everybody has a house. You're
Right.
always going to need housework done. People are going to need roofs, gutters, et cetera, et cetera.
I wish I would have known a couple
Yeah.
of years ago when I
Yeah,
got my
yeah. You don't understand that, like, even a gutter system, you can easily get up there, clean out gutters, and put some leaf filters on there.
Mm-hmm.
You make great money. Super easy work, as long as got the knowledge and you understand it. Oh man, you charge $8-9 a foot. You make about $1,200 in 2 hours. It's
Yeah.
like
Interesting.
nonstop, and there's so much when it comes to exterior work. And if you know it,
Yeah.
put a little money into a truck and some tools,
Mhm.
you're on your way.
Yeah. You got to put the work in, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, you gotta
Put the
learn.
work in.
You gotta learn.
Teddy?
Man, things are a lot different now than it was. I graduated back in '01, so college for me that's like the next thing, right? It was, if you want to have an opportunity, you want to succeed, you need to go to college. So that's why I went to college. That's as far as that's how I knew I was going to be able to, be able to get a job or have a career.
Sure.
And you really couldn't do it, any other way at that, back then. But really, when I think about it, I'm in marketing and design and stuff like that. I didn't go to school for design. I actually went to school of sports management and computer information systems. It was in one of my sports management classes that I got introduced to like a design program.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was like in preparation to do an internship because, you got to do you got to do the grunt work and do whatever. So you have to learn how to use Publisher and all those different things. And I always, liked, art and did creative stuff, but the combination of that and computers is kind of where I was like, oh, this is where I can use my creative ability.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of adapted to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, I really like this. And that's when I found out, actually in a sports marketing class, I was like, man, I like marketing. And kind of, went that route. But, the biggest thing was really some relationships, I think, in college. Because when I think back how I got started, when I started freelancing, I got my start from relationships from college. Being able to do some work for the track team I used to run for. And then I had a teammate that had a business and started doing work for him. So really, I think college is about networking, really, and the different opportunities of, people you would not normally be with or be around.
Yeah. No, it's it's a fair topic. I'm torn on it, honestly, because I'm a college graduate and a college dropout. So my career path has been such a hodgepodge. I've been to school for trucking. I've been to school for accounting and finance, and I've also been to school for web development and software engineering. But I dropped out of school too, so I agree with that. I do think, college is about the relationships. That's one of the big pieces. And it's like, where else do you get that kind of microeconomy, where you've got this cluster of people who are all in this to be successful, that are from all different walks of life, but somehow you share an interest. I don't know where else you get that. So that part of college is indispensable. I also think the other part of college that is super clutch is it was the first place for me where I learned how to teach myself. And
that's a good point.
that skill set, knowing how to teach yourself things, is also come in super valuable with my career. If I don't know how to do something, I can teach myself how to do it. Because I understand the discipline process and how my brain registers information. So like right now I'm learning Spanish, you know, I'm conversational right now, and 2 years ago I, you know, could just do a couple of phrases, but you know, I'm approaching fluency. And that's just because I've been in college enough to know, like, if I don't do these habits, I'm not going to remember anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of torn on it too, and I think maybe some level of college is of value, but maybe a PhD isn't necessary.
Yeah.
Maybe a master's isn't necessary. Is
Yeah.
a bachelor's necessary?
Or the cost, like, does it have to be that much? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, when it comes to the cost of it, like for me, you know, I probably took out more than I needed to just to be able to, you know, live. You know what I'm saying? Just didn't understand how did it all work.
Yeah, I didn't want to be in a lot of debt. So, and I knew that in the degree field I was going into, like, the pay ceiling wasn't crazy high. So,
What degree field was that initially?
graphic design.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, it can be, like, it just depends. So I did the first half of my degree at Metro, got Pell Grants for everything because I was so poor at the time because I was, you know, working in fast food. And so got that paid for. And so the only schooling I had to pay for was the 2 years that I did through UNO to finish my degree up.
I think that's a smart decision.
Yeah.
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 And it was good because, like, back when I went to school after high school, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I went to school for studio art, right?
Yeah.
You know, and originally it was on my parents' dime because they had saved up a chunk of money to pay for it, and I dropped out because I was just like not really doing school, and but I think that was probably the best thing that could have happened because I was older, and when I went back and I was like, okay, I don't want to be an idiot about the money because I got to pay for it out of pocket now, so, like, you know, let's try to find the best deal I can get out of this.
Yeah, so on that note, about student loan debt, sheesh, that's such a major factor in people deciding to go to college or stay in college. So what do you think? Is that a major factor?
You know, for me it definitely was, but what had came up was I got offered a management job for $50,000 a year, and I could have worked up from there and made that like a really lucrative position eventually, like run my own store and everything.
Yeah.
And for me, it honestly came down to, like, I know this is silly because I should be thinking about my future and my finances, but for me it came down to, am I going to be happy? Is this what I want for my life?
Right.
And I turned down the job, and I decided to finish my degree because I was going to stop at the associates, and I decided to transfer to UNO and finish the degree with a bachelor's.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I did take on the student loan debt because I just couldn't afford UNO out of pocket, and I'm living on my own, so I'm paying all my own expenses. So my job, I'm working full time and I'm doing school part time.
Yeah, and those Pell Grants run out.
Yeah,
eventually.
the Pell Grants ran out, and so, like, I have a pretty, it's like a, you know, I don't know, can you say thousands of dollars is a reasonable amount to pay for student loan debt? But I feel like it's better from the scholarships and the Pell Grant I got.
Yeah.
So, you know, is it achievable? Is it possible for creatives to get out of debt? I think it can go one of two ways. I think you can make reasonable debt if you work towards the scholarships and try to get the offers that you can. But then I think there are some degrees and some colleges that just rake you over the coals.
Yeah. Now, you said that you were in school now. Is that?
Oh,
what it-
no.
Oh, so this was.
No,
previous-
I think that what I was saying, that I think that's a good idea, because I did, like, your first 2 years you're doing gen ed, so you're not really focused on what you're actually there for.
Yeah.
So just going to Metro, like, if I wouldn't have gotten a scholarship, that's probably the route I would have gone. And then once you finish your gen eds, go to like UNO or something that you can dedicate more to your actual degree. I think it's the better way of doing it if you're looking at the financially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you start freelancing before you had your degree, or did you?
No. I
was
after, yeah, for sure,
Okay.
after, yeah. I went into school a psych major, a psychology major, because my parents were. I'm Hispanic, so we don't really think you can make money in art. So yeah, I went in there with a psych major, and after a while, I realized that wasn't it. So I went into photography, and I realized I got pregnant. So I realized that is not. You can't really do a 9 to 5 as photography. So I went to graphic design. That's where I learned that whole field and everything like that. So I think, college really helps you figure it out. I think that's
Yeah.
what I like the most about it.
that's true. Because
Yeah.
there's just so much you don't even. I know for me, like
Yeah.
I didn't even know it's possible for
Yeah.
a career.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know about that stuff in high school. You just know about doctor, lawyer, veterinarian, astronaut. Stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
And it was like some of the positions and jobs. You're just like, what? Why is it a secret until you get to college?
Yeah.
Right. It is in certain. And I was just gonna say that too. We're around the same age. 20, 21, right? So, but in our age group when we grew up, those things weren't really taught as professions.
Yeah, like it's like when I first like learned photography or even design, it's like now it's like it's a trade. It's like it's like it's taught.
It's
it can be a
possible.
side hustle.
Yeah.
It can be it's this money maker.
Yeah.
They didn't have design degrees in schools until
No.
maybe five, maybe I don't know the accurate number, but 5, maybe 10 years ago at the
It
most.
totally wasn't
Because we
marketed.
didn't even have the technology for it until recently.
No,
Yeah.
we didn't even have that. I don't even think they
You
had
know?
like the Apple.
Back
I
in the
even
day.
used Apple products.
Back in the
But
day,
in
people in
college-
'99 were doing all of their ads and marketing on
Print. It was all print.
print. Yeah. And so they would be, scanning letters onto just like colored pieces of paper, making, like the punk,
crazy.
like the punk flyers that
Yeah.
you make, how it was just scanned photocopies or whatever. Or like, they'd have to do it hand painted. That's why there's so many sign painters out there. Or,
I remember when they had the laser printed CD covers, so you could you could buy this expensive printer and print your own
Covers.
covers for your
I had my
CDs.
CD book.
Yeah, look at this.
Take
Look at
those on
this.
the road trips.
Yeah.
Now, I think too on the trade side, a lot of those trades aren't marketed either. It's
No.
really this specific set of skills. So, how did you even figure out to get into
Right,
the
that's a
trades?
hot thing now.
Well, early on in sobriety, I got introduced to a buddy and he got me on and I learned it from there. And next thing you know, I just kept elevating and,
Yeah.
everything I soaked up just from being from where I'm at and from jails and prisons, anything that you can figure out to gravitate to some sort of money, I'm going to utilize it because I was never taught this.
Yeah.
As soon as I taught it and was soaked it up and, even at work, I'm watching people and their techniques and soaking everything up. And then I'm on YouTube and and then I'm turning around like, well, I got a little bit of money. Let me buy a truck. Let me do this. Let me work for these people. Let me learn how to sell and work with insurance and find hail hits and you can file claims. Just everything. And I'm still learning every day.
Sure.
Certain crews may show you a trick that you never knew, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. You learn something every day. Get to meet a lot of awesome people, and there's a ton of money.
Yeah.
So it's all about the hustle and the motivation behind it. So
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've learned how to teach yourself things too.
Yes.
Even though you didn't go to college,
Mhm.
you still seem to have that skill set. Because most people, I would say, aren't that cerebral. With like, I could do this, I can do that.
Yeah. One thing I like to tell people is, certain folks will spend money to go to college. Now go find you a couple siding crews or a roofing crew and say, hey, I'll work for real cheap or possibly even free because you're spending money to go to college and you can go work with these people. Say, hey, I'd love to just work for free for a few months. And next thing you know, you're picking up some trades and you can utilize that information and strategically put yourself in a proper position. And it's a beautiful thing, you know, and I tell people that all the time. If you want it, there's a lot of money out here. You just you got to learn to go get after it. And you can get it. You can get it.
So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think student loan debt influence your decision to go to college? Is that a factor that you weigh? You know, and you have to weigh that when you're going to college, right? You have to decide if that you might have to pay this back.
Yeah.
You know, you've got some people that just feel like pay your debt off. If you take the debt, you need to pay it. There's some people that feel like they were misled. They didn't know the full contract terms of the debt they were taking on. They didn't realize how difficult it would be to find a job. So there's a lot of factors there. So we want to hear from the audience and see what you guys think. Should student loan debt influence your decision to go to college and why? Yes or no? Very impressive. Well, yeah, I feel like we've got a lot of different perspectives on that topic.
Yeah.
Let's switch modes to talk about social media. Both of you have built up a following for yourselves, and it's been interesting to watch. I know, Ingrid, we've crossed paths a few times over the years, and I've just watched, you know, your account just grow and grow. What's working for you? Like, what's your favorite platform, and what do you think is working for your platform?
As far as like how big it is, Instagram is my biggest platform. What's working? Just being consistent. I think being consistent and I don't know, trying to be like authentic. I think just trying to, I don't know, not try to be somebody that you're not and try to like just show the process. I think what I've heard a lot is like lately people, what they want to see is like real stuff. They don't want to see this curated life or this curated stuff. They want to see, you know, like the regular stuff that you do every day or, you know, just stuff like that. I think I just post what I do on a daily and it's gotten traction, I guess. Yeah, nothing too, I don't know.
That was very cool. I mean, even early on, like the design work was really cool. That's what got me to follow, right? It's like, she's getting pretty good at this, you know. So I think, and then you started the company page, and that kind of spun off onto its own thing. But I think back in the day, everything was through your personal account.
Yeah, right? So my personal account was actually my art page. So I had deleted my old Instagram, and then I started just posting on the only Instagram I had, which was my work one. So then that slowly grew, and now it's this thing. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, so two totally different approaches. Can you talk on that? So, you know, you've got your Skitz alias, you've got so many different things going on. What's your favorite platform and what's working for you?
They're all, you know, got their benefits, I think, on like Facebook and things like that, because, you know, you can been generating a little money off Facebook as well. But TikTok is my biggest one by far. Facebook, I feel like I have more freedom to say and what I want, but I've kind of dialed in on hip hop music and top fives and breaking down the scientific, you know, double entendres and breaking down rhyme schemes and things like that. People appreciate that kind of stuff, but generated a lot of views, a little bit of money.
I feel like the younger generation really sucks into that because they're not familiar with a lot of these artists.
Yes. And at the end of the day, my passion and love I've always had for rap and hip hop music. And if I could, you know, shine a little light on certain MCs that don't get the, you know, the proper love, things of that nature. But, you know, and there's so many more avenues that I need to introduce when it comes, you know, not only creating your own stuff and plugging your own stuff in there, merchandise and, you know, selling hats and T-shirts and stuff like that, but theming around rap music. Everybody's there for hip hop music. You know, you can kind of design all everything else around hip hop music as well, because I'm the kind of fans that are flocking to it. So then next thing you know, I am hip hop T-shirts,
Yeah.
short bus logo, the whole entire shebang, So
So I've been wanting to ask you about Facebook in particular, because in my experience, either you've got friends and family following you on Facebook, or you don't have a following. So how in the world are you doing this on Facebook as well?
my personality, I think, anyways, just creating characters sometimes. I don't know if you've seen Lil Douchey or Luke from La Vista. When I'm just being myself, and next thing you know, it's creating traction, or I'm making reels, and then I share those reels to groups and pages, hip hop pages on Facebook, and people start to follow you, and if you have a controversial opinion on rap music, people will follow you, just talk shit to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow him so I can dislike and hate on everything he does, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you get a lot of love. And when it comes to that kind of following, especially on like TikTok, you're gonna get a lot of hate. And I see a lot of people fail is because they can't handle that, especially with like their first viral video. I'll see their comments turned off. They'll reach out to me. I'm like, turn your comments back off. Who cares? Hey, let it be.
Yeah.
You just gotta, take it on the chin and then appreciate the positive things on there, because you're gonna get hate no matter what. So you just gotta learn to take it and roll with the punches.
That's interesting. Maybe I haven't had a viral video, so I've never experienced the super hate, but I for sure have people that don't like my post that should like it. I know who you are. Well, very interesting. We do marketing, so we deal with the more corporate side of things. We see the need to spend money on ad dollars. And that, for us, has been the bread and butter in terms of making sure that our clients are getting measurable results. So do you feel like you can control like the engagement with your posts at this point, or is it consistent?
Some things are consistent. I think the reels they get a lot more traction. I think that's where at least Instagram is. But no, you don't really have control over what people like or what they don't like. If you look at like what's popular, like the music or the trends, I guess that's one way of like controlling it. But other than that, if it hits, it hits. If not, it just doesn't.
So it's more of a long game. It's not so much about individual posts, but having a story that you're telling at the time.
Kinda. I more post what I want to post. I don't, so yeah, there's not really an end goal from what I see, but I just post whatever I like or.
That's fair. That's real. Yeah, I think, we have you here because something's working for you, which is different. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's transition to our second to last segment. Do we have hot takes today? I guess we just have a topic for the hot takes. So we'll come back to the hot takes. But that one is designed to generate like an emotional reaction, just so you guys know. So we have another video that we want you guys to watch. It's kind of in line with what we talked about so far. We'll throw this up on the screen, but here is the video.
Do you think a college degree is necessary to be successful in today's society?
Absolutely. It takes time to develop maturity, and college gives you that 4 years, but everybody should go one gap year out of high school, then go to college.
Nope. No, a plumber is always needed. Most people, they like to think that they are handy and all that. They're not.
Hey, do you guys think college is necessary?
I actually don't believe it is necessary.
Why do you say that?
Today's day and age with the internet and all, you can learn quite a bit that you normally couldn't. Typically your institutions.
How about you?
I think it's necessary to explore, like even not in the academic setting, but you're exposed to people, and in that setting, it's an environment to thrive and ask questions.
Definitely useful.
Yeah.
You guys
take it easy.
So just to summarize, do you think college is necessary? We'll start here.
Is it necessary to be a creative?
Yeah.
Man, gosh, it was a part of my journey, so it's like it's hard for me to be like to say no, it's not. It's not necessary. Man, I won't say it's necessary.
It is necessary?
It. I think some is necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
For creative.
Yeah, this creative is pretty wide. That's a wide net.
All right. Ryan.
Do you need a college degree for what you want to do in life? If you do, then it is. If you don't, I don't think so. I mean, I think I'm doing all right without one. So, yes and no. That'd be my answer.
Okay. Right in the middle.
Thanks. yes and no.
Yes and no. Right. Tara Pierce.
Like I consciously know it's not necessarily necessary, but from my experience and where I came from, I had no skills. I worked dead-end job after dead-end job. Pretty introverted, so didn't really network with anybody, even when I was involved in the art community, because I could have gotten places doing that. Yeah, I think I needed it.
Okay.
You know? I don't know. Like, I know it can go both ways. It's just like the certain type of person can get away with it without having a type of degree. You got to have the personality. You got to have the work ethic. Got to have, I didn't have any skills. I didn't even know how to run the Adobe programs.
So college was kind of the proper structure for you to get in and soak up what you needed to get.
And I needed that type of structure.
Absolutely,
It does give you a structure, and once you learn that structure, it's like then you can learn anything. That's how I learned design. I didn't go to school per se for it, but I was able to, go on YouTube and had the discipline to.
Right.
So it worked for you.
Yeah. I mean, I got this job. I love it.
Yeah, we
It's
gave it
working
to you
out.
because you had a degree.
Yep. I thought it was just because I knew
You're
your
not
sister.
supposed to put a false card on the podcast.
I just messing.
So yes and no. Necessary. I'm gonna say no. It's not necessary because what I do for a living, I don't need a degree for.
Yeah. Right on.
What I do for a living. However, if I wouldn't have taken the path that I took, I probably wouldn't have got here.
That's what I struggle.
'Cause
Because it's part of my experience. It's like
It made me a lot more nerdy. He knows that.
okay.
Which is good, because I'm able to use the right language in meetings and, those types of things. And I also think I'm like you, I'm very much like a go-getter. So you can't put no, crumbs of gold in front of me. I'm scraping up every little piece of gold, and eventually I'm gonna have a bar of gold. And that's kind of what this path has been, is just like baby steps that turn into more. So I'm gonna say no.
All right.
I think for my path, it led me here, but I don't think in this time, I don't think it's necessary. I think people now know what graphic design is, and I think coming out of college, you can be like, well, I want to be a graphic designer, and just go online, and you can even just do classes and stuff like that, web design, whatever you want. I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
For me, it was necessary because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I think if you come out of high school or wherever you want to learn, you can find other ways of learning it. I think most of the things that I know of graphic design, I've learned on my own time after college and, trial and error. So I don't think it's necessary, at least not for arts, maybe if you want to be like they said, a teacher or something like that, where you need a degree, but you don't need a degree to be a designer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
And I think that's encouraging for people to say,
Yeah.
like, you know, at the end of the day, you can start somewhere right now.
Yeah. Oh, for
If you
sure.
have a degree, if you don't have a degree, if you're in college, go ahead and start. You know, go
Yeah.
ahead and start working on something, and you know you can figure out the rest along the way. Fair. Let's unpack a little bit. I just want to come back to Brian again because it's so fascinating, these top fives on TikTok. This is crazy. I mean, some of your videos have like over 1 million views.
Tons of them do.
Yeah, and
Tons of them.
this is crazy. Like, what the heck? You know, how is this? How did you find this niche? How did you figure out that this was the thing you were going to do?
Well, you know, you just gotta experience is one thing. Let me tell you a quick story. I remember I was like 17 years old, and this is when I first went to prison. And we used to have hip hop conversations. We'd stand on the toilet when everybody was locked down, and there's the vents, and everybody could talk through the vents and stuff. And you know, and just picking up what triggered certain people. So, for example. So that's where I picked up a lot of that early on, what triggered people in like the hip hop world. So let's say I did a No Limit top 5, and I already know how everybody feels about Silk the Shocker is the worst rapper of all time. So what do? I put Silk the Shocker in that top 5 as number 5.
Oh my God.
And it immediately triggers everybody. I mean, and I actually think he's one of the better rappers because of his style.
Silk
and
had a
things.
couple. He had some.
Yeah,
tracks.
yeah. I thought he was more original than everybody when it comes stylistically, but
Yep.
I put him as number 5, and then I kind of, and everybody sits and waits around because that algorithm wants to know how long did people watch this for. So everybody's sitting around till number 1. So, you know, so I throw a little trolling in there as well, which is it's my honest opinion, but it's still kind of trolling in a way, and it just triggers people and comment. And that's just hitting that algorithm.
I see.
People are stitching it. How dare you? People will report your stuff. They get angry.
wow.
People are, they'll report your videos. They will report you if
That's
they
some
don't.
serious stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
just figuring out the science.
yeah, and
That's
and
just
it
psychology.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
psychology.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. So where do you kind of see it going from here? Do you just plan to keep it like this, or do you plan to
No,
evolve
I
it?
want to go in more in depth on certain things. Kind of want to transition that audience over to like a YouTube podcast type of discussions and things like that. Even, you know, with my little apps and designing and stuff, because the green screen that I utilize, I create those myself. Like I did a top 5 worst rappers.
Yeah.
And in the green screen, I put a picture of Tupac on there. And then I can't remember who else I put for top 5 worst rappers of all time. So I have Tupac there and have someone else there, and I kind of jump into the camera. Top 5 worst. So everybody's automatically gonna be upset if I put.
mad.
So I never put Tupac in the top 5, but people are, you know.
You got his picture.
I got his picture
Can't
there.
put Tupac in the top
Yes.
5.
So yeah, people
Worst
are.
rappers.
That's smart.
Yeah, I think that video got like 3.5 million views.
Yeah,
Oh my
the
God.
numbers
Yeah.
are crazy. I've seen it, and I'm just like,
That's funny.
how is this working? It's really cool.
Yeah,
So that's where your head is, kind of having more of a YouTube platform, more of a space where people can talk regularly.
go into depth on certain topics and hip hop albums and you know the importance behind lyricism and things of that nature instead of just, you know, your 1 minute view or 1 minute clip video or something. I'd like to go in depth and, you know, bring on people and things of that nature.
So is that the future that you see, is like longer format?
Oh yeah,
content?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then get in
You'd
there.
probably blow up on a YouTube channel.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Because something popped up when I just got a new phone, and they were like, "Hey, you know, you should start posting longer form content because more people are doing that." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. So, what about you? Like, what's next for your business and your brand? Where do you want to go next?
I feel like I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't have it figured out yet. I like what I do. I love what I do. So just continue to do that and just grow.
Yeah.
I don't really
Any
have like a plan.
Any future with Stable Gray? Any future
I
working
don't
with
know.
us?
I don't know.
This is going to be all over the internet. So
Yeah.
no, just playing. No, it's good to have a consistent base. So that's
Yeah.
good too.
I do got a question though. I mean, both of y'all like, because we do have a marketing brand agency. And we're talking about social media, and what y'all are like stepping into is like it basically like you have opportunity to be influencers when you have such a following. Have y'all had any opportunities, any brands like reach out, or how do y'all feel about you know what I'm saying, like endorsing specific brands and using your following to put messages out there on the behalf
So
of brands?
I do a lot of collabs and sponsorships and stuff like that. My main Instagram, I would say, is more like fashion based, so it's not really designed. So I'm not really promoting anything too serious. It's mostly just clothes and stuff like that. So I haven't come across anything that's like I don't know, controversial or anything like that. But I do think that you do have some kind of obligation to make sure that what you're putting out is appropriate, or like it represents you as well. So you need to make sure you know what you're showing to your public. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Same here. Brands reach out to me constantly. You get messages through the TikTok creator thing, and they'll say, "Hey, this brand wants to link up with you. It's a remote control airplane or a hovercraft of some sort." And I always deny them because I think it's, they're not offering a whole lot of money in the first place. But the ultimate goal is, brand yourself and sell yourself. So leave the other brands alone for now, as of now, unless something amazing comes along and that kind of connects with me and what I believe in. I don't feel right selling people stuff that I don't really know too much about, or agree with. And
So maybe something video game related, or something related to the content that you're putting out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or what if it's something that would benefit like the community, things like that?
You don't even have to pay me. I'm on that.
Okay, because there's a lot of opportunity for those different types. There's organizations that have things, services and stuff that if they feel like however you've built your brand, they feel like maybe people within your influence could benefit from that, or they have a message that that would benefit them. There's opportunities in that space as well.
Teddy, I don't know how you did it. I've been trying to get her to talk about her fashion stuff all
my bad.
long. Thank you for getting that. I wanted to kind of unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
Like, how'd you get into the fashion?
I don't know. I just I started posting. I think I started growing. Maybe it was like a year, 2 years ago. I was at like 1,000 followers for a really, really, really long time. Like I said, that was my actual art Instagram. I just started posting, and then I posted one day, and then the next day I posted like right after, and then I saw that the traction, like I got so many likes and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, maybe there's something in like posting really consistently, because I think most of us on Instagram, we post maybe once a week on the heavier side, and maybe like once a month every 2 weeks. I think that's what most people post on there.
That's me.
So
Late at night.
so once I realized that if I posted consistently that I would get more traction, I started taking advantage of that, and I was like, okay, well, like, let's throw some fits together. Let's, let me take some pictures. Let me take advantage of this opportunity that I'm seeing. And then I started including the reels and everything like that. And slowly you kind of just learn what works for you. So that's how it started. Slowly it grew to a lot more. And then I think once you realize how to do it, it's easier to do it. So once you realize what works for you, it's easier to just continue to do it, and it just keeps working. But I do think that Instagram has changed a lot from when I started.
Yeah.
So it was a lot easier to get traction back then. I think now everybody's doing the same thing, I think. So it's a lot harder to grow your platform at this point, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody's chasing TikTok because
Yeah.
TikTok kind of changed the game, and next thing you know, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everybody's kind of following to the same algorithm patterns as TikTok. So Yeah, so I took one of my TikToks and uploaded it to YouTube, and next thing you know, that video had 30,000 views on YouTube. So,
Yeah.
you know,
But I think there's a lot of controversy too with TikTok being banned and all of those different things. So do you see that as a thing? Do you think TikTok's going away? Do you think that's just gonna keep growing?
I mean, it's possible if you look at how big corporations are here in America and how powerful they are and how much influence they have in politics. Their money can sway politicians to vote a certain way. So absolutely. I mean, if TikTok is from overseas and they're pulling a lot of revenue and advertising away from Facebook and Instagram, which is marks, you know, the metaverse and all that other stuff. So
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. But ultimately what they're going to do is say, hey, we're going to need a big chunk of whatever percentage of TikTok over here. So American base is going to generate some wealth here in America, I think. I don't think it has anything to do with spies or, you know, the propaganda they're going to say. It's got to do with advertising and money. And TikTok is pulling it away from Instagram and Facebook, and they're not very happy.
It took a big hit. I think starting on the February 1st, like I forget the big label, one of the biggest music labels, pulled their
Yesterday?
music, pulled their music off of TikTok.
Yeah.
So if you made any videos with any of those artists under that,
It's
it has
gone.
nothing on it. So they're still in
Yeah.
in a battle
Hmm.
over, you know, I think they're getting like 1 cent or something like that, and they want 2.
Interesting.
So right now, you can't even hear any of those artists' music on TikTok. The biggest, like,
Which artists are those?
I know Drake was one of them.
Drake,
Taylor
was on
Swift
it.
maybe too.
Taylor Swift's on there.
Those are heavy hitters.
I forget some of the other ones they said, but it's the largest one. So it's a lot of music, a lot of artists whose music you can't hear on TikTok anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I feel like your content would do really well on TikTok.
I've tried TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't like TikTok.
You don't like
I
TikTok?
don't like TikTok.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Why not?
I think I'm a little more soft spoken, and I think TikTok is for those big personalities. I don't feel like I like watching it. I like going on watching it, but it's not for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, everybody, different strokes for different folks. But yeah, I agree. These platforms have totally been like jacking their style and taking features and adding them. And it does. It seems like anticipation of that being shut down.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh, okay. Well, we have one segment left. It's just a quick hot take. It's controversial. Influencer. He said, "There's no such thing as talent."
There's no such thing as talent. Despite what the world says, it's not about talent, it's about time. See, Kobe Bryant at the age of 2 could dribble a basketball because he was watching game tape and going to practices with his dad. When Tiger Woods was 7 months old, his dad put him in a swing set in a garage and had Tiger watch him hit golf balls into a net. Mozart wasn't no child prodigy. His dad was a famous composer and taught his son music before he could even speak. Talent is not born, it's made. And having a good dad helps.
So, can everything be taught? Can you learn everything when it comes to being a creative, or do you just have some natural abilities that things you're just naturally good at? Yeah, go ahead. Okay, I know you're triggered.
Well, I feel like there's technical skills that everybody can learn, but nobody can teach you how to nobody can teach you the creative part of it. Right? I can show somebody how to use a camera, like the technical skill, how to push the button, how to do this, but now you got to make art with it. Right? Nobody can teach you how to get that angle, how to pay attention to like what's in the background, how to set it up, all that. Just like, you know, I can teach you Illustrator, InDesign, how to use the different tools within that, but now you have to put something together. You know, that takes creative ability. So I feel like there's a lot of things like the technical things that people can learn and people can get better. But you know, that's where we're unique, you know, and that's where our unique experience and personality comes in, is the creative process. And then when you get a combination of creatives, wow, now you got something else, right? When we're collaborating on a project, you got my creative ability with Tara's and with yours, and it's like that's something that couldn't be created on my own.
Sure.
Right? It took us three, and another three people couldn't create that because it's our creative ability.
Yeah, it looked like you were gonna say something.
I don't know if talent's the right word for it. I think most of everything can be taught. I think it's more of like interest. So I'm an after school art teacher, so I work with like little kids in like art and stuff like that. And most of the time, I think everybody's on the same playing field, but there's some kids that just really like it. So they, they try harder, they're cutting better, and there's some kids that just don't really care. So they're doing it, whatever, So I think maybe the talent comes from the interest that they have and how much they want to, they really like this. So that's, I think maybe that's, and then you learn skills and everything like that, but that's because you're interested in this and, it sparks something in you. So I don't know if it's talent or just interest, that to me, that's right.
I don't know. I get pretty fired up about this statement, to be quite honest with you, because I was born with the ability to draw.
Ooh.
It's
fighting words.
Yeah. My mom put crayons in my hands and I was doing it when I was little. And, obviously that skill developed over time, and became an obsession, right? And that was what I poured my entire life into, but yeah, I think talent is real. I think people are born with natural skills. And I think time just develops those if you get that obsession to work on it. Yeah, I don't like that statement.
He said it, not me.
Yeah.
I'm just a messenger. Go ahead. You're gonna say something?
No, I'm just thinking about that. I was just thinking about, because we talk about, that's driven and talent. It's like, I don't know. There's I think there's got to be some level of it. There's when I think of athletics too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's just some
there
kids
is
that
some
can play.
natural born abilities that you have, but you definitely need to have skills and discipline as well.
Yeah.
And curiosity and drive, to probably to reach the fullest, fullest potential.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I tend to side with Tara because I think I everything was telling me to not be a creative. From my school counselor to my career assessment test, I just feel like everything was like, you're a corporate professional, So I went for finance. I was working at Mutual of Omaha in the banking area, I just never was told that this was a thing, but it just was. It's just something I always had, So where'd that come from? So I don't know.
What? I want to get
Maybe
off
it is
topic,
a natural gift.
When did you feel like you were like a creative, or when did you start calling yourself a creative? Because growing up, I didn't, just from those tests and things like that, I always felt like I was a left brain thinker. I was like more logical, and just told like the right brain thinker is more of the artist, the creative, and so it's like so it's like that bad. I don't know if I didn't start calling myself a creative till like later on.
Me too. I didn't start calling myself that when I was younger, but we recorded our first song when I was 4 years old because my grandma, she died of breast cancer, and the last thing she wanted from her grandkids was for us to record a song for her.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I was singing. I wasn't rapping. So don't critique it if you ever hear it. It's probably trash, but yeah, that was my first exposure to the creative stack from a production standpoint. And there was something about it even then. It was just man, I wonder if we could do that again. I didn't have I'm 4 years old. I didn't have access to gear and stuff. but I liked it, you know, and I wanted to do it again. It must have been 10, 15 years before I recorded again, but that's where it started for me. And I think maybe in my, you know, before I turned 20, you know, before I turned 20 years old, because I'm 20, you know. Probably in my 20s somewhere, I started to feel like this was a thing, you know, because I had the recording studio with Leo, and we did that full time. That was what we were doing, and I didn't even think it was then. I just knew I wanted to do music, but then the skills that I learned doing music was like I got exposed to like Charles Parks and Jim Nelson Media Services because I was trying to record a music video. So that's how I learned about cameras and lighting and stuff. I was like, yo, this is crazy. But that was in my 20s. I don't think probably until my late 20s is when, you know, I started saying like, I think I'm a creative.
Yeah.
I started identifying as an artist probably like in the 4th grade.
Okay.
Just drop the mic.
Dude,
Alright.
you know, I'm just being honest. I'm telling you. Like it was what I did. It was how I felt worth. You know, it was the only way I could communicate because I wasn't good with words, didn't learn how to communicate in the household I was living in, you know. And so the only way I could truly ever express myself was on a piece of paper. Right? And so
I can relate to that a lot, actually.
you know what I
So
mean?
that was a bar.
Yeah, I was like, you got deep.
Definitely can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same here. Early on, I think third grade, around the time Criss Cross and Public Enemy was popping. I remember Boys in the Hood was out on VHS, and first time that I grabbed a notebook and started trying to write some raps. And even then, I always
This was before Eminem.
way before. Yeah, you did. You already know.
It was before Eminem, man.
Hey,
My
but
mind
yeah,
is blown.
you know, even drawing back then, you know, I was never the best drawer, but anything I ever, you know, from basketball to rapping to everything, I always just wanted to be the best at whatever it was. You know, if it was drawing, which there was way better drawers than me, but I transitioned from drawing over to writing rhymes and things of that and trying to be a creative and, you know, so regardless of my history, I think jail helped flourish that from battle raps and, you know, because there's none but battle raps in jail and usually lead to fights and things like that. But, yeah, and they help you craft it, and you're always just wanting to create something. So even into the line of work of roofing and siding and things like that, it feels good to be able to go to a homeowner and they ask you questions. You're like, you know what, you could do this. You know, put this cedar shake here. You know, and not only that, let's do this blue siding with the outside white corners. You know, just even there, I'm creating and designing and helping people, giving ideas and things like that. So it's a beautiful thing, man. So
Super dope.
yeah.
Really dope. Well, yeah, this has been a good discord about, you know, college creatives and just the whole topic of, you know, relevant career paths. Appreciate all of you joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara, for coming back. I know you wanted to leave us.
What?
You were like, I don't know if I want to do
Oh, I
podcasts
did.
anymore.
Yeah, I said that in the
Yeah, you did.
I was thinking I was having a day.
Let us know. What do you think about this topic? Do you think college is necessary? Is college creatives a thing? Is it all about being a digital nomad going forward? What are your thoughts? Leave us a comment below, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Content Parlor.
Top 5 worst rappers of all time. My number 5 had everybody saying his name in the early 2000s. Who? Mike Jones.